Okay, today's notes are on political parties and the differences between our first two political parties, the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. By the election of 1792, Hamilton and Jefferson are going to be the individuals who had these rival political parties that enact their particular views. Both of the parties do have the same goal. They want a free republic, but they very much differ in the way that they're going to attain that. The political party system, which has continued since that election in 1792, is initially going to be very divisive or feared to be divisive, but proves to be very vital for democracy. So, what you're going to do as we go through this is fill in the chart for the Hamilton-led Federalist Party and the Jefferson-led Democratic Republican Party. This is not the Republican Party today. Make sure you note that. All right, so the Federalist Party is going to be based on Alexander Hamilton's views, and they have a very pessimistic view of human nature overall. Hamilton believes that people are basically selfish and need restraint of the strong government. Jefferson's Republican or Democratic Republican Party has more of an optimistic view of human nature. Jefferson believes people are basically good and therefore are capable of self-government. Okay. When it comes to who should govern, they have very differing opinions. They do believe that an aristocracy should rule, but they differ on which kind. So, Hamilton's going to favor a rich and well-born aristocracy that's based on birth, wealth, status, things of that nature. He agrees with John Jay in that people who own the country ought to be the ones who govern it, thinking that they have more at stake and therefore are going to be more responsible. On the other hand, Jefferson is going to favor a natural aristocracy based on talent and virtue. He advocates rule by educated men of property, but he also promotes widespread access to both education and property. For government power, Hamilton and the Federalist Party are going to be more nationalist, a strong central government. And they have a very loose interpretation of the Constitution. When Hamilton says that, hey, we're going to create a national bank and build roads, bridges, all that kind of stuff, none of that's in the Constitution. So if you don't believe in that loose interpretation, you're going to think that the Federalist Party is pretty much out of line. And that is where the Republican Party and Jefferson's views come in. They have very much a localist, states' rights, limited central government idea of what the government should be. Therefore, they have a strict interpretation of the Constitution. If it's not in there, then the national government cannot do it. All right, our next issue is going to be on the economy. Hamilton is going to be more urban-centered. He believes in an industrial economy, manufacturing, that is what the nation should become and should be built on. Jefferson and the Democratic Republicans, on the other hand, are in more of the lines of an agrarian society. So an agrarian economy, farming, more rural-centered, things of that nature. For the capitalist system, the Federalist Party is going to go for modified capitalism. Now, the government can aid business, but it's not going to regulate business. That they should be responsive to creditors. Jefferson is more laissez-faire, hands-off type capitalism. Government is neither going to aid nor regulate business, and would still be responsive to debtors. When it comes to foreign affairs, they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Hamilton, pro-British. Okay? Jefferson, pro-French. The Americans are going to cheer when the French have a revolution in 1789 and overthrow the French monarchy and replace it in 1792 with the French Republic, which is based on liberty, equality, and fraternity. But the cheering stops in 1793 when the French Republicans beheaded King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette and started a reign of terror against the nobles and declared war on Britain. Okay, lots of drama. You'll find out a lot more about that in world history. So, warring France and Britain are violating Americans' neutrality. Okay, so there's going to be issues with our shipping. Federalists are going to fear that there's going to be basically a French mob ruling everything, and therefore are going to favor Britain. Your Democratic Republicans are very monarchist and are going to favor France. And so ultimately, just remember Hamilton, British, Jefferson, French. All right, your leaders of the Federalist Party are going to be George Washington, though he does try to remain neutral and did warn against political parties, is going to lean more towards the Federalist side of things. John Adams, who is a committed Federalist leader, he's a Federalist president from 1797 to 1801. Okay. The voters electing these particular leaders are going to be individuals that are in the Northeast, that are merchants, manufacturers, financiers, creditors, those people who are going to benefit from these ideas of Hamilton of having this industrial economy where the government is going to aid business and things of that nature. On the Democratic Republican side with Jefferson, you have James Madison, who is a co-leader of the Republican Party, and he's the president from 1809 to 1817, and also James Monroe, who is a friend to Madison and Jefferson, and he's a Republican president from 1817 to 1825. Their voters are going to be mainly Southern agrarians or farmers. They're Northeastern workers, so not the people who necessarily own the businesses, but those that are working in them, in industry. Western pioneers, so those people that are going out west, and people who owe money, your debtors. So just try to keep in mind these two differences, that if it's going to be more along the lines of being industrial or for the wealthy or benefiting the wealthy, that's going to go towards Hamilton's side of things and the Federalist Party. If it's more on the ends of an agrarian society, wide open spaces, farming, debtors, things of that sort, that is going to be more on the Democratic Republican or Republican side and be more for Jefferson. Make sure that you just know the basic differences for this for your TBL quiz in class. Next time, if you have any questions, make sure you ask before the quiz begins.